Good evening, you're watching TKC Daily, where we make sense of the global events with straight facts and sharp analysis. First up, Trump's new trade tariffs have put China and European Union on two very different paths, one preparing for war, the other searching for peace. Meanwhile, there is trouble brewing between two of the world's most powerful men, Elon Musk and Donald Trump, once called allies, now are becoming enemies. Musk is furious after losing nearly 300 billion and now he is blaming Trump. What went wrong? We will tell you. Then a shocking statement from the Bangladesh. The former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, has called Nobel Peace Prize winner Muhammad Yunus a threat to the nation, accusing him of turning Bangladesh into a terrorist hub. What's behind this explosive allegation? We will explain. And finally, for our last story, all eyes are on Delhi tonight. The Crown Prince of Dubai is in India on a crucial visit. What's on his agenda? And why is strengthening India's trade ties more important than ever, especially when the world is entering a new era of trade wars? Big stories, big headlines, all lined up. Let's begin. The world is slowly adapting to a reality where the word free trade is losing all meaning. What was once an era of globalization, trade agreements, and open markets is now turning into a battlefield of tariff, trade barriers, and economic nationalism. And leading this new chapter in global trade are two very different responses, one from China and another from European Union to the aggressive trade policies of the United States of America. Recently, US President Donald Trump threatened an additional 50% tariffs, 50% tariff on Chinese goods, intensifying an already bitter trade war between two of the world's largest economies. And China's response? Crystal clear. It has accused the US of, and I quote, pressure, threats, and blackmail, and made its intention loud and clear: it will fight till the end. China's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian summed it up perfectly. He said, and I quote, tariff wars have no winners and protectionism has no way out. Chinese people don't make trouble but are not afraid of it. Pressure, threats, and blackmail, these are not the way to deal with China. This is what the spokesperson said. China swiftly retaliated with a 34% tariff on US goods in response to the earlier tariffs and warned of even more actions if the US escalates further. And escalate it might. Trump has already threatened to raise overall tariffs on Chinese goods to a staggering 104% if China doesn't back down. This isn't just about goods and services, you try to understand. It's about power, pride, and influence. China believes backing down at this point of time would make it look weak and give US more leverage, more power in the future negotiations. But while China is digging in for a long fight, the European Union, on the other hand, is taking a very different route. Initially, the European Union, had also threatened retaliatory tariffs against the US, but very quickly reality seems to have set in. The EU is now signaling that it is open for negotiations and does not want to escalate the trade tensions. Why? Perhaps because the European Union, the EU, has realized that in this new world order, it isn't as powerful or as influential as it once thought. The European economy is far more fragile compared to China's manufacturing giant, China's manufacturing economy. The EU is heavily dependent on exports and cannot afford a full-scale trade war with the United States of America, especially at a time when internal divisions, a slowing economy, and geopolitical crises are already weakening its position in the world. While China is preparing for a long-term economic fight, the European Union has quietly taken a step back, preferring dialogue over confrontation. But this divergence in strategies is shaping the new world order in trade. The aggressive, unpredictable policies of the US and President Trump are forcing every country to re-evaluate, rethink their place in the global economy, in the global equations. Billionaire investor Bill even called this potential trade conflict, and I quote, an economic nuclear war, warning that business investments will freeze, customers will pull back, and the US's global reputation could take decades to recover from this. And as things stand, the world is watching closely. China is preparing for battle. The European Union is preparing for negotiations, and everyone else is preparing for the impact. The world stock markets are having a rough time, and at the heart of this is a controversial new trade war strategy from President Donald Trump. Last week, Trump announced sweeping new tariffs on many of America's biggest trading partners. What Europe, what UK, what Australia, what Saudi Arabia, everybody felt the hinges. This was a dramatic shift from the decades of US trade policy of free trade. In just a few days, America's three biggest stock indices, the Dow Jones, S&P 500 and Nasdaq, all crashed by over 5%. That's the sharpest weekly fall since the COVID-19 pandemic in year 2020. But what's making even bigger headlines is not just the market reaction, it's the growing signs of a split within Trump's own team. And right at the center of this clash is Elon Musk versus Peter Navarro. Who is Peter Navarro? Well, Peter Navarro, Trump's senior trade advisor and one of the architects of the tariff plan, went on to CNN last week defending the move, defending Trump tariffs. He was very confident and he confidently predicted that the markets would bounce back and even claimed that the Dow would touch 50,000 points during Trump's second term. Currently, the Dow is around just 38,000. But Musk, never one to stay quiet on social media, fired back at Navarro on his platform X. He mocked Navarro's Harvard PhD in economics, calling it, and I quote, a bad thing, not a good thing. But that wasn't all. Over the weekend, Musk joined a video conversation with Italian Deputy Prime Minister. And there, Musk made his position crystal clear. He said, and I quote, ideally, both Europe and the United States should move to a zero tariff situation, a free trade zone between Europe and North America. That's a direct contradiction of Trump's current policies, which just imposed a 20% tariff on European goods. You see, Musk's position makes a sense from a business angle. Tesla's sales in Europe have plunged to some 49% in the first 2 months of 2025 alone, and its stock price is also struggling. Unsurprisingly, Navarro, the advisor to Trump, wasn't impressed. On Fox News, he brushed off Musk's comments, saying, and I quote, Elon sells cars. That's what he does. Navarro insisted that Musk doesn't understand the broader strategy behind Trump tariffs, behind this whole move. And this clash isn't just isolated incident. Trump's Commerce Secretary, Trump's Treasury Secretary are also giving slightly different signals on how long these tariffs might last or whether they could be negotiated down or not in the future or in the times to come. And now things have escalated even further. You see, Elon Musk's net worth has taken a hit after US President Donald Trump announced sweeping tariffs on 60 countries. Elon Musk, one of the closest ally of President Trump, lost some $300 billion for the first time since November 2024. These are the signs of division among Trump's aides emerging, with Elon Musk's publicly clashing with trade advisor Peter Navarro. For now, one thing's clear, that Trump's tariff policy isn't just shaking up global markets. It is also shaking up his own internal inner circle. And with voice like Elon Musk pushing back publicly, the world will be watching to see if Trump stays the course or makes a strategic retreat. Bangladesh's political drama is heating up again, and this time it's former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina making global headlines. She's in India, but she's making global headlines. Speaking to her supporters in India this week, Hasina launched her sharpest attack yet on Bangladesh's interim leader, Muhammad Yunus. What she said, she accused him of turning the country, and I quote, into a terrorist nation. Allah kept me alive for a reason, and the day will come when justice will be served. This is what Hasina told members of her Awami League party, many of whom have faced arrests, violence, and persecution since her ouster. Hasina described Yunus as a man who, and I quote, never loved the people of Bangladesh, never loved, accusing him of running microloan schemes that exploited the poor who are living a luxurious life abroad. She said, and let me quote her here again, "We could not understand his duplicity then, so we helped him. But people did not benefit. He did well for himself, then developed a lust for power, and that is burning Bangladesh now." This is what she said. Hasina fled to India last year after a massive student uprising toppled her government. In the power vacuum that followed, Muhammad Yunus, a Nobel Peace Prize winner and a microfinance pioneer, was appointed as the head of an interim government. He has been in power for nearly 8 months now, only 8 months, but he is making global headlines as well. You see, with national elections expected by the end of this year, the things are very complicated in Bangladesh. But Hasina claims Yunus has transformed Bangladesh into a terrorist country, where political violence has spiraled out of control. She said, and I have to quote her here, "Our leaders and workers are being killed in a way that cannot be described. Awami League, cops, lawyers, journalists, artists, everyone is being targeted." This is what she said further. Importantly, this violence hasn't been limited to political workers alone. There have been growing attacks on minorities. When I say minorities, I want to make a special mention of Hindus in Bangladesh. Over the past few months, a concern has been raised by India and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi during his meeting with Yunus recently. You see, reports of temple vandalism, targeted violence, and forced migration have added only fears. If we consider all these things, Hasina's claims sound right. But rising religious intolerance under the current regime makes things more complicated. Her comments come just days after Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi met Muhammad Yunus, the interim leader of Bangladesh at this point of time, in BIMSTEC summit. Their conversation lasted for some 40 minutes, and in their 40-minute meeting, Modi reaffirmed India's support for democratic, stable, and inclusive Bangladesh. Yunus reportedly raised the issue of Hasina's possible extradition and concerns over recent border killings. These were the things that were discussed. This Hasina versus Yunus battle goes far beyond the political rivalry. It reflects Bangladesh's deeper identity crisis. On one side is Yunus, a global face of progress backed by international donors, even by the US government in some cases. And civil societies are also promoting him. On the other hand is Hasina, rooted in Bangladesh's political history, street power, and emotional connect with the masses. But Yunus's biggest challenge today isn't just holding elections, it's proving that he has control over the ground realities of Bangladesh. Hasina's terror accusations, whether exaggerated or not, they're not going into that debate, but it strikes at the biggest weakness of Yunus, that is of security and law and order in Bangladesh. The next few months will be critical. If violence continues, attacks continues, Yunus's credibility will suffer both domestically and internationally. And if Hasina manages to return, the stage could be set for an epic political comeback story, one we have never heard of. Either way, this is no longer just a Bangladesh story, it's a regional crisis with India watching closely and global players choosing their sides quietly. In the middle of a tense global trade environment where tariff wars and protectionism are threatening the flow of goods and investments, India is rolling out the red carpet for a very special guest. The guest is the Crown Prince of Dubai, who has landed in Delhi on Tuesday for his official visit to India, and it couldn't have come at a more crucial time. Why? With world trade dynamics becoming increasingly unpredictable, thanks to the growing tensions between the European Union, the United States, and China, India's strategy is crystal clear. Diversify global partnerships and deepen trade ties with trusted allies like the UAE. And make no mistake, this visit is all about business, strategy, and the future of India-UAE relations. The Crown Prince isn't traveling alone. He is accompanied by a power-packed delegation of senior ministers, top bureaucrats, and influential business leaders from the UAE. His itinerary? Completely packed. Meeting with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, then the External Affairs Minister S. Shankar, and Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. These are the cards. And that's just Delhi. Then the Dubai Royal will also head to Mumbai, to the economic capital of country, India's financial heart, to meet country's top industrialists and entrepreneurs. At the heart of this visit is the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, short formed as CEPA, a game-changing trade deal between India and UAE, which has already pushed bilateral trade beyond a whopping 85 billion US dollars in year 2023-24. But both sides know they have only scratched the surface. Expect big conversations on energy, collaborations, technology partnerships, and infrastructure investments, and boosting India's rapidly growing startup ecosystem. What makes his visit even more important, even more significant, is the backdrop against which it is happening. As global supply chains become more fragile and Western economies, the European economies, tighten their borders, India needs reliable partners who believe in open trade, free trade, investment, and mutual growth. The UAE, with its strategic location, financial muscle, and shared cultural ties, fits the role perfectly. For Prime Minister Narendra Modi, strengthening ties with the UAE is not just about economics. It's a smart move in India's larger foreign policy strategy, building bridges with the Gulf, assessing new markets, and positioning India as a global manufacturing and investment hub, challenging China. As Crown Prince's visit unfolds, the message is very clear. In a world of tariff wars and trade disputes, India is being big on trusted partnerships. And the UAE, with its vision of becoming a global business powerhouse, looks ready to bet on India too. The next 2 days are crucial and will shape the future of India UAE ties for decades to come. And finally, science fiction is slowly becoming science fact. In a breakthrough straight out of Games of Thrones, scientists have revived the extinct direwolf species 12,500 years after it vanished. It's been called the world's first successful de-extinction. Have a look. And that's all I have for you on the show tonight. I will see you tomorrow. Take care and good night.